Everybody, I'm Ryan, and I won my first RCQ this season, or of the season. It's not my first RCQ win. Good intro, Ryan. Ugh. It was modern with Boros energy, and the deck felt amazing. And what I wanted to do in this video is talk about the deck, the 75, my card choices, and then just tell you the story of the day, because I think stories are fun. This picture of the 75 that I used, it's pretty stock for the most part. A lot of lists now are running 3 or 4 static prisons because the exile removal is really important, and 3 and 4 galvanic discharge and lightning bolt, I flopped one direction or the other. Lightning bolt has felt worse and worse as time has gone on, so I went with galvanic discharge. And I'm playing for the One Ring because the card is just insane. In almost every non-Tron or colorless Through the Breach deck matchup, the card is just one of the best cards that you can draw after you hit 4 mana, and it's reasonably easy to hit 4 mana with the Surveil lands and whatnot. And frankly, if we're not hitting 4 mana, then that means we're casting the other cards in our deck. And with the One Ring, I don't really want to run less than 4. I either want to run 0 or 4 because it's best in multiples. As the judge at the event that I won said, and a good friend of mine said, the second One Ring is the best card in Modern. Not the first One Ring, the second one, because you're being able to reset it and get protection again. It's good in the mirror, it's good against aggro, it's good against control, it's literally good against everything except for the Tron variants. Along with 4 Flages instead of 3, because again, Flage is one of the best cards that you can draw in any creature matchup or even against control decks, especially alongside the 2 Arena of Glory that I'm playing. Everything else is viciously stock in the main deck. As far as the sideboard goes, the only non-stocky things that I'm doing is I'm playing 4 Obsidian Charma. Now notice that has double red in its cost, which means Gigantha can't be used in post-board games that I bring in Obsidian Charma, but Through the Breach is pretty popular in my local meta, and I wanted to make sure I was fully prepared for that deck. Also, a few small last minute changes I made. I decided to go to 2 surgical extractions rather than playing on License Hearse. And while License Hearse is like good in its own right because it can become a threat, I felt it was really important against other Flage decks like Jeskai Control and the Mirror Match to be able to extract that Flage, because very often the Mirror Match either comes down to a flip to Johnny, multiple One Rings, or who gets the Flage, and being able to like snipe 1 or 2 of those things is super good. The other major change that I made is Thraben Charm. Now frankly, I didn't get a chance to test the card before this tournament, but my thoughts is that it was like totally fine. I know all of the modes at once, being a removal spell, enchantment removal, and graveyard hate. It didn't come up. I don't think I cast it a single time. I don't think. Maybe I cast it as a removal spell because it took a Chain to the Rock slot in the sideboard, so meh. And I went down to 2 Sun Cleanser to make room for those Charma instead of 3, mostly because while there was a ton of Boros energy at tournaments the previous weekend, this was a Sunday tournament, and I played in an RCQ the day before on Saturday, and there was almost no Boros energy, so I decided to kind of go down on the Boros energy and attacking Boros energy. In addition, a lot of decks sideboard in a fashion that makes Sun Cleanser not absolutely insane. A lot of people side out of their galvanic discharges and whatnot. So it's mostly the fear of Sun Cleanser that makes it good, more than Sun Cleanser being able to cast itself. That's pretty much the deck. So like I said, it was a double RCQ weekend. I was fortunate enough to have 2 reasonably close RCQs, about 45 minutes to an hour away, both in the same city, a town over from where my parents live, which was awesome because they were able to watch the kids. And I lost in top 8 to the person that won the tournament on Saturday, went home, got something to eat, played Magic Online because I'm a degen, and went to bed and got up and went to another tournament. It was at Game Citadel in Bangor, which was my original home store when I first started playing Magic, which is kind of cool. Got caffeinated, ate a banana for breakfast, and sat down for round 1 across from Goryo's Vengeance. It was not particularly close. The only major thing that I remember from that matchup is that in game 2 they got a Annihilator 7 Ulamog attack off on me, and I just sacked a few lands and a few cat tokens and like untapped and just like killed them. It's actually really incredible how Ocelot Pride, while both being, I would argue, the best card in the deck, also like stops a lot of the Annihilator shenanigans if they don't do it right off. I they had weird draws. They had a lot of Psychic Frog draws, which like this deck does amazing against that deck Psychic Frog draws. And this deck also gains a lot of life, so they need to be able to like hit for an actual million to be able to really kill. But I 2-0'd Gory's Vengeance. In round 2, I played against Eldrazi Breach, which I would argue is probably the deck's worst matchup. It was against somebody I beat the previous day during Swiss. I was very, very lucky in doing so. This matchup was just not good. It was not particularly close. He did the Breach thing both games. I maybe turn 4 both games or turn 5 both games, and I was dead very, very quickly. I tried to live, you know, in game 2, sacking everything but like an Ajani flip Planeswalker, but just didn't matter. They just did it again, or they cast a Devour, I think, and it was just not particularly close. In round 3, I played the Mirror Match, where I drew really well, had multiple One Rings, I think, in both games. We did some Sun Cleanser battles. I remember us both having like multiple Sun Cleansers. It was, again, just not particularly close. Either game. I had some very, very, very fortunate draws. In round 4, and this is where the memory becomes a little bit more vivid, I played against Blue-White Hammer. I stomped him round 1. Then I think I misboarded. I boarded out the Blood Moons, but it's an Urza Saga deck and an Inkmoth Nexus deck. I think I'm supposed to keep the Blood Moons in because of that, because it kind of neutralizes the one side of the deck that I have difficulty answering. Because in both game 2 and 3, I answered what was going on, and then they just killed me with a hammer on Inkmoth Nexus, which was not great. So I'm 2-2. Going into the last round, my breakers are second from worst, and I'm the one that gets pared down. I'm in a situation where I would need to breaker jump at least one person. Well, there's a couple ways that I make top 8. So one, I needed to win. That we cleared off the board really easily. Since I got pared down, I convinced them that they didn't have a shot at top 8, which was true, and they scooped to me. Cool. I am 3-2, but lined up to come in 9th or 10th. And so one of 2 things needed to happen for me. One, the 7-pointer, there was a 7-pointer, got paired up. If that person lost, then I was in top 8, probably. Or the person that was below me that got paired to the person above me needed to lose, and then that would probably put me in 8th. Neither of those things happened. The person that was below me won, and the pair up won. But somehow, I breaker jumped people and jumped all the way to 7th. So now I'm in top 8. Somehow. I was fully prepared for it to be 9th. I was packing up my stuff. Breaker jumps happen, and I mean, I looked around, and all of my opponents, except for my round 1 opponent, were in top 8. So I guess it makes sense. I guess besides the pair down 2. But in the quarterfinals match, I play against Blue-Black Frog, which I would argue is Boros Energy's best matchup. I just grinded him out with One Rings and removal spells and Ajani's and Assault's Prides, and the match went almost exactly like you'd imagine. There was nothing in particularly interesting, just kind of killed him. And then in the semifinals, I played against that same Blue-White Hammer player. This time I sideboarded correctly and played really, really, really conscious of Inkmoth Nexus, because again, I really felt like that was the only way that the deck could beat me, because I don't think it could beat me with fair means on the ground. And I would even say an instant speed hammer on something is fair, as long as it's not on specifically an Inkmoth Nexus. And for me playing really conscious of Inkmoth Nexus and me sideboarding correctly, I won the semifinals match. On the other side of the semifinals was Boros Energy versus the Through the Breach player that I lost to in round 2. It was an incredible match. I wish I was able to watch the whole thing. It involved like the Boros Energy player wiping their own board to their own Goblin Bombardment to keep them off Scion mana from like the Kozilek's commands and stuff like that, which I don't think I would have had the self-control to do, to be totally honest with you. I really think I would have just like attacked them with the creatures and let them have the mana. It ended up winning them the game because it held them off from Through the Breach for a very, 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 very long time. The Boros player was hellbent after an Allah's Dust, I believe it was, with the Through the Breach player at a very, very, very low mana, and the Boros player ripped their Containment Priest the turn before the Eldrazi Through the Breach player cast the Through the Breach, and they played Containment Priest, and the Through the Breach player lost, which was one, really good for me because Through the Breach is my worst matchup. I lost to this player in round 2, but double good for me because the Boros player was not interested in the invite. So we did a 100-0 split. They conceded to me, and I got the homie scoop in the finals, which feels really, really good because the same person dream crushed me in top 8 the week before at an RCQ, and I did not want to run that back. But that is the story of the first of this season's RCQs. I'm only halfway there, though. I need a second qualification to be able to play in both RCs. And if you like these stories and want to see more videos like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. I'll see you guys next time, and see you guys in Portland. Bye.